Abigail Borah, let's talk about your story. You grew up on a dairy farm run by nuns and then ended up in Durban. Connect those dots for us briefly.
Yeah, sure. So when I was growing up, every summer I spent on a farm outside of Poughkeepsie, New York, milking cows, taking the chickens, eggs in the morning, gardening. And so when I decided to, trying to figure out where I was going to college, I fell in love with Vermont, and I landed at Middlebury. And my first semester at Middlebury was the semester leading up to Copenhagen and COP15, the international conference, to try to figure out how globally we can deal with the climate change issue. And so watching my friends go to Copenhagen and come back sort of disillusioned by this conference, I knew that I had to continue that energy and youth involvement in the international negotiations. So I spent a fair amount of time that year working on Vermont energy politics, and then I was in in Mexico, and then in South Africa, working with the international youth delegation.
And we're going to show a brief video of Abigail Borah in Durban. This is the Global United Nations Conference, and the scene here is the lead U.S. negotiator, Todd Stern, is talking, and this is Abigail. Let's roll that, Joe.
You have 3 minutes. Thank you.
2020 is too late to wait. We need an urgent path to a fair, ambitious, and legally binding treaty. You must take responsibility to act now, or you will threaten the lives of the youth and the world's most vulnerable. You must set aside partisan politics and let science dictate decisions. You must pledge ambitious targets to lower emissions, not expectations. 2020 is too late to wait.
What is your name? What is your name?
Abigail Borah.
From which group? From which group?
The United States Youth.
Why did you just interrupt this forum?
The United States government does not speak on my behalf.
Excuse me.
Abigail Borah in the United Nations. So give us the backstory there. How did that come about? What prompted you to stand up and disrupt the international negotiations?
Sure. So this was the second to last day of the negotiations. And about 20 young people from the US had been at the negotiations. And sort of for the 2 weeks that we were there, we kept on having to answer for our country. And we were talking to young people from across the world who were saying, why isn't the US taking more of a position of leadership on this issue? And we were equally as frustrated in watching our country not have the necessary urgency or ambition that they needed to bring to these negotiations. And that being said, there wasn't really that much pressure being put on the US from the media, from civil society, from other governments. The US was really just sitting sort of as the elephant in the room. And so as young people, we felt that we had to call our country out and make sure people knew that we didn't think the government was speaking on our behalf and that we were really trying to push for more urgency and ambition.
And what's been the response since that time? People come up to you, et cetera. What's been the response afterwards of that event?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. You saw in the video, the moderator says, no one is listening to you. And I didn't hear him when he said that, so I guess that was good. I kept on speaking. But I think the response was that people were listening, and that when young people speak up, people do listen. And so we don't have to be told. I think constantly young people are being told, we need to wait until we're older to have an influence, and that we shouldn't speak now. We have to get degrees, we have to see the world, and then we'll understand. But I think it shows that as we can all probably attest, is that when we do speak up, when we do act, people are listening, people are watching, and it makes an influence.